What's up, everybody? It's the Roundtable Sports Podcast. My name is Taylor McLean, and I'm coming to you from what I assume would be where I would get if there was a tornado in Dallas, which it's storming so hard that wouldn't surprise me even in the least. A lot of ambient sound out there, so if I sound a little different today, give me a little space on that because I'm having to record in a different location than I'm used to, but that's okay. I am literally bursting at the seams with Trevor Lawrence thoughts at this point after watching him play versus the Tennessee Titans. So we got to talk about what I saw and what we expect from the Jaguars and the Titans going forward, because both teams are going to play some meaningful games down the stretch. So we're venturing to the AFC South. We've already been there once this week talking about the Texans. I doubt we get to the Colts game as a part of this as well, but hey, we're getting a lot of coverage for the South today. Before we go forward, I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor, Evergreen Power Solutions. They're a concierge power company. They're going to go in, shop the best rate for you right now, and then 9 to 12 months later, they're going to come in, renegotiate the rate lower if they can, or keep it the same. It's not going. Give them a call at 888-886-6586. Use prompt number 2 and let the people that Taylor McLean and the Roundtable Sports Podcast sent you. Now, let's get to the football. And as I mentioned, today we're talking the Jacksonville Jaguars win over the Tennessee Titans, which vaults them back into contention for the playoffs. Of course, it'll probably be them versus the Titans heads up with the way the 5-8 record is for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They could still get in as a wild card, but it seems more and more likely that it's going to be the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars heads up for the AFC South. The good news for the Jaguars in their pursuit of the Tennessee Titans is they do get them again on week 18, so that game may or may not have implications at that point. They also have the Houston Texans in week 17, so that should be a nice win, although they played better versus the Cowboys. Speaking of which, that's the next matchup for the Jaguars and then the Jets. So those are two tough matchups, and we'll see what the Jaguars are made of during those two games. And the Jets will be on a short week on Thursday after playing the Cowboys. I'm glad that's going to be a better game than what you might have thought to start the season, with the Jets playing a lot better, although Mike White got beat up in his game. So we'll see what his status is in 2 weeks, or who's playing quarterback for them at that time. But I digress. The point being of all that Jaguars fans have something to play for in December at this point. Maybe that chance sticks around, maybe it doesn't, but still, it seems like the first time that we've had those type of games for the Jaguars since they were in the AFC Championship some years ago. The main thing that attracts me to the Jacksonville Jaguars when it comes to watching their games is the progression of Trevor Lawrence in his second year. I have the receipts in the form of a couple of podcasts last year, as well as a video that I made in the offseason that says that I believe in Trevor Lawrence as a potential franchise quarterback. So I've been pretty invested in what I've seen from him so far, and I never miss a chance to take a victory lap when available. So to see Trevor out there playing as well as he did in this game certainly gives me hope that my Trevor stock will pay off in the end. What I look for in rookie quarterbacks is to assess their physical skills. How high could their ceiling be? And then does he show me flashes of what he could look like when everything goes right? We saw from Trevor in his rookie year that he absolutely has the physical traits to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. I have a ranking of arm strength that I keep in my head that I'm sure not that many people care about, but I watch every quarterback in the NFL, and I see, like, we're in week 14. I've seen at least 10 games from everybody at this point. So I've watched a lot of football. So my arm strength ranking is Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. the order of which I'm not 100% on. I think I probably listed it in the order that I would say. If you try to put it in baseball terms, these are the guys that are out there throwing in the hundreds, right? Those are the flamethrowers. Those are the guys that can flip the ball and have it go 50 yards without having to put their whole body into it or having their feet set. Like a guy like Baker can throw it that far, right? We've seen him throw it really far, but he has to have his body perfectly aligned and he has to put his entire body into the throw. It's not all that often that you get to do that as an NFL quarterback as you navigate the pocket. So you want to have a huge arm to be able to deliver the ball wherever you need to deliver it on the field, whether your feet are set or not. And those three guys I mentioned are pretty much the best at that. My next level down, though, and the reason I bring this up at all is that it's A-Rod, Matthew Stafford, Trevor Lawrence. Maybe A-Rod and Matthew Stafford get their own little tier above Trevor, but honestly, I kind of put them in that same range. The point being that Trevor has a big arm, and he's been showing it throughout this year and last year. You can see it last year too. He just didn't get to unleash it as much because the offense didn't have nearly as many easy throws, first of all. And then Trevor, the speed of the game was too much for Trevor in year one, just like every quarterback that's ever played the game. Some look better than others, but everybody is overwhelmed in their rookie year. Hell, Peyton Manning threw 26 interceptions in his rookie year and held the record for a long time until Jameis had the season of a lifetime that I enjoyed so much to watch because it would raise my pulse every time I watched it. But anyway, Trevor has that type of prototypical arm strength that you want from a franchise guy. And today, not only was he able to unleash it on some easier passes because this offense is way better and has more easy throws under Doug Peterson, who really gets offense and has been wonderful for Trevor's growth this year. So that's A, give your quarterback easy throws and open throws to increase his confidence and get him going. And then B, or number two, I don't remember what I said as I was kind of lettering or numbering this out. Trevor was making big boy throws into tight windows on this day, unleashing that arm to stretch the defense and threatening them in a way that is tough to deal with when it's going right. Precision passing down the field has really tight margins and can come down to a coin flip between a cornerback and a wide receiver. So these passes need to be on the money. They need to be anticipatory, throwing it to where they're going to be, not where they are. And it needs to have some zip on it. And Trevor has that in spades. The question has been, where is it going and is it going to be on time? And he's just gotten better and better at that as the year has gone on. This isn't year two in the offense either. He had an entirely horrible situation before with about a third of the receiving power getting open, making tough catches, having speed after the catch. All of those things were non-existent nearly in the offense last year. So that has helped as well to have Zay Jones and Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, as we saw today, injected into the offense. And then, of course, like I said, with the scheme actually making sense, that really has helped Trevor develop. But make no mistake, it was big boy throws into tight windows. I made the video already. I just haven't commentated on it yet to release it. But when you see how tight the windows are on these throws and how accurate he's being in these windows, it's pretty impressive. Now, also, I want to do a slight apology for the Tennessee Titans defense before we get way too excited about what happened here, because the Tennessee Titans were out a bunch of people on this day. Not only were they down some of their pass rushers in Harold Landry and Danico Autry, they were also down David Long, who has been a tackling machine this season, and Zach Cunningham, who make up their top two options at linebacker, and their backup in Chance Campbell. Then throw in the missing Christian Fulton, Trey Avery, Elijah Moulton, Caleb Farley, who they've been missing, and a couple other pieces in the secondary, it really hurt this defense overall. Then throw in the fact that probably their best player, Jonathan Simons, was playing through an ankle injury, and you've got a recipe for disaster for any team to be missing that many players at one time. But still, we're talking about a unit that held the Jaguars to 60-yard rushing on 25 carries. ETN could not get anything going. Side note, he hasn't looked quite the same, but honestly, it felt like there wasn't any room for him either. It's not like anybody else got anything going really. And I still think he offers them the highest upside, and Trevor and them and the Jaguars should be glad to have him, even though I'm still not a big fan of using first round capital on running backs. But if it makes Trevor any more comfortable, I'm on board anyway. And it's a sunk cost regardless. Got a little sidetracked there. My point being, with the running game not in tow, it was on Trevor to make this game happen. And granted, with David Long out for the game and with your other linebackers missing as well, it gave Evan Ingram a lot of space to work in, and really gave the Jaguars more overall space to work in than they would have had otherwise. Also, not having Fulton out there is a bad deal. The Titans, have been great against the run, but if you can pass over the top on them, then they haven't been able to deal with that as much. Joe Burrow tore them up last week. So the fact that Trevor was also able to do this against a diminished team, more diminished than what Joe faced, is still a major positive. And it's not like he was doing this from a clean pocket all day either. It's one thing if you're Jared Goff standing in a clean pocket and you're delivering throws. That's every quarterback can make open throws. The pitch and catch, I call that level one of quarterback. You don't get to the NFL if you can't pitch and catch, at least. But this was Trevor ducking, dipping, dodging, and moving around and still remaining calm and making throws over the top, getting it to his guys with a chance to run with it. Because beforehand, the accuracy had been an issue too. Like in the rookie year, that was part of it. Was he was kind of sailing things. He didn't have as much touch. There's a lot more touch. There's a lot more anticipation. And he seems to have a way better idea of where he's going, what he's doing. And the decision-making has leveled up as well. Like there's quick decisions being made. And this is going to sound stupid, I think, but decisive decisions like, yeah, got this. Stepping into it, throwing it in stride, and just on a line, bam, that ball's on him. I can visually clock how fast somebody's throwing it. And he is putting it on him. It's, like I said, it's not that top 3 God level, but it's right there. And if you can do that in the NFL, you can make defenses cover the entire field. And then once they have to cover the entire field, they can't do all of that at once. So then you're able to take what the defense gives you. You hear that stupid phrase all the time, but it's so true. If you can threaten the defense in every possible way, then they're going to have to give you something. If they play back to stop your deep stuff, you get all the underneath stuff, and vice versa. If you can get them up to the line of scrimmage, they have to stop your run, they have to stop your short stuff, then you hit them over the top. Trevor is offering both of those things because he has the arm and then he has the mobility too. And if he can continue to increase his decision-making and just use the information he's being given by the defense and get himself in those positions, the sky's the limit for this guy. This guy has franchise potential. He's not quite there yet, but he is on the path. Now we just need to see this more consistently. That's the next step. It's not flashing this in one game, but the good news is he's taking it to the game level now. This is a complete game that he just put up there on a hurt, but still good defense. Like they still are schematically strong. It's just they got beat up today. And it wasn't on the ground. It was because Trevor was all over them, putting pressure on their secondary, getting the ball away. He didn't take a sack. They were getting pressures on him, but they weren't getting to him. Granted, as I said, missing a lot of people, but it was impressive and it made me excited, and it should make Jaguars fans excited too, because that's the recipe for pulling yourself out of the malaise that you had been in for so long. You're out of the quarterback forest. Now you can start grabbing stuff and drafting towards stuff that is going to accentuate what he does. And you've got Ridley on the way, putting him over the top of Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, pushing Zay Jones down to the number 3 option where he can just be explosive. He doesn't have to be a possession guy because his drops are hurting the team a little bit, but he's so explosive and he's so good at getting out deep that I think he'd be a perfect number 3. And if Calvin Ridley can just come back and not gamble on football anymore, I think that's a big time situation going forward. And I'd been calling for the Jaguars to draft a tight end as well to put in the middle of this to be Trevor's all-in-one passing guy. Like, try and draft a Travis Kelce type, even though that's nearly impossible to draft one of the 4 best tight ends of all time. But still, you want somebody that can be in line and go work the seams, because all 3 of the guys I'm talking about, Zay, Christian Kirk, and eventually Calvin Ridley, none of those guys are big guys. None of those guys are seam guys. I mean, they can work the slot and stuff, but still, you need a big guy up the middle. And hopefully Evan Ingram has figured things out and is now going to be that guy. I would love that for Trevor. They were able to put him on the backside, so his run blocking wasn't up front as much. They have a couple of run blocking tight ends that are okay in Manhurts and Farrell, so they can put him on the front side and use Evan on the back, which is what they did today, and it worked beautifully. Granted, coverage was a little off in the linebacking for the Titans, so that may be why, because up until this point, Evan hasn't really broken out to this level. He's gotten better and he's healthy right now, so that's the main thing. But I do want to throw a little bit of cold water on the situation in that he hasn't done it consistently up until this point. However, if he can bring that element to this offense, you saw today that it's dang near unstoppable when you've got all this speed on the outside that you have to deal with. You don't need to also have to deal with Evan Ingram breaking out on a Z route and getting extra yards or getting a screen or hell, using his speed, take it to the house. I mean, it was an impressive performance by him. I just haven't seen it consistently. And that's going to be the thing for the Jaguars going forward. Not just Trevor and not just Evan, but just overall consistency. And I think part of that is going to come when they shore up the offensive line completely. I do not like Jawan Cam Taylor. And I'm not sure which one he goes by exactly. I don't care. I don't like him on the right side. Cam Robinson is fine. I'm okay with Cam Robinson. He's not great, but they're not paying him at the super top end of the left tackle, so I'm okay with that. Scherf may be a little old, but I still think he's solid. But they still have some other positions to figure out, in my opinion, like center, guard. Guard's okay, I guess. Shatley did okay today, but there's some positions there that they need to upgrade, and they definitely need secondary pieces as well. I like one of the guys. Yes, Tyson Campbell. I like the way Tyson Campbell looked today. I also thought Trayvon Walker was interesting, the way that he played. They got him in the 3-point stance a little bit more that he likes. I read a story about, and I saw on film that he'd had a little slump there, but getting him in the 3-point stance, he looked a little bit more explosive. And when he beat those 2 guys to get that strip sack on Ryan Tannehill, that was really impressive. And I think I'm going to make a short video about that, because that was a really good play, and it should give Jaguars fans hope to have him, Josh Allen, Aiden Key, and even Chason got after it a little bit today. So hopefully that young pass rushing core can come together, and then they can add on to Tyson Campbell, because they really do need pieces there. Having Gerald Henderson not worked out really didn't come in clutch for the Jaguars on that end. But hey, not every pick's going to be a hit. And it looks like you're making more hits than not hits when you've been drafting at this point. Also, Roy Robertson Harris, I don't want to miss out on him. He also adds to that defensive line. They're strong on that defensive line. I like that a lot. It's the next couple of levels that I have issue with. Devin Lloyd needs to know where he's going a little bit better. Not to get on this huge defensive tangent here, but he has talent too, so maybe there's something there. But yeah, we just need talent at the other levels on the Jacksonville Jaguars, while I'm just making a wish list here, impromptu style. Point being, for all of this on the Jaguars, excitement. It should be excitement overall. Next step, consistency. That's what we're going to see from Trevor next year, I believe. We're going to see a lot more consistency. We're going to see a lot more, looking guy safeties off. We're going to see that. And that's the next step, is beating the defense with your mind. He has the physical tools. We've talked about that in detail, right? He's got the mobility. He's got the arm strength. And it seems like he's got the head too. So now it's all about the head and increasing that knowledge, getting the experience to see all these different things from defense, and then making anticipatory throws down the field that hit his guys in stride, that makes the defense scared of Trevor and the Jaguars over the top, so that you can just do everything else. It's the same thing as having like AJ Green in his prime. You can just work everything else because they had to cover AJ Green deep. Well, they don't have an AJ Green on this team exactly, but they do have a Trevor Lawrence who has more arm strength than Andy Dalton could ever even dream about. Andy can't even think about throwing it that hard because Andy has a pop gun as an arm and Trevor has a bazooka, as it turns out. Anyway, not to just throw Andy Dalton under the bus there. And I've been throwing the Tennessee Titans under the bus a little bit up until this point. I do want to say that it's not all doom and gloom for the Titans. The inverse of what I said earlier about all those guys being out so the Jaguars could play better also means that the Tennessee Titans would probably play better on defense if they had their guys. That's kind of the point of this part of the season. And even in the playoffs too, that this is a game of attrition and your best ability is availability, because there's probably not a guy on the football field at this time on any given day that has played 10 plus games in the season that isn't nicked up in some way. Like by the end of this type of season, your elbow's hurt, even the elbow that's not hurt is a little worn out. If you're an offensive lineman, if you're a running back, that hit that you took in week 9 on your thigh still hurts. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that these guys are going through. So not to apologize for the Tennessee Titans a little bit, but I'm going to apologize for the Tennessee Titans a little bit, at least on defense. And a little bit on offense too, because not having Treylon Burke out there is devastating for them as far as not being able to threaten the defense over the top, because that's what happened today on offense. The Tennessee Titans do not scare me down the field at all. Like, what am I supposed to be scared of? A flea flicker? You didn't get it out today. You probably should have. Because I mean, there's got to be more deception in what they have going on in Tennessee. I have not been impressed at all with the scheme of this offense. And part of it is a lack of playmakers. And part of it is that you didn't re-sign A.J. Brown. That was a horrible decision then. It's a horrible decision now. And it's going to be as long as A.J. is healthy, which could be for 10 some odd years. So good luck with that. That was a horrible decision. You fired your GM, rightly so. And I'm glad, because it was not good out there for the offense at all. Defense got torn up. Fine. They're missing a bunch of guys. You're missing Treylon Burks. And you've had some offensive line troubles. What else is the excuse? I'm waiting, because there isn't one at this point. The fact that you can pack so much towards Derrick Henry, and whether it's him running or now they're just having to pass in the ball too. He's the whole thing, because Robert Woods is a complete disappointment. Westbrook Ikhine is fine, but is he your number one at this point? Come on, dang. That's a horrible situation. I do love Okongwu, and I need to see more passes in his hands. Maybe he's a little raw as a route runner, but he is explosive. Give him the ball more, because he is more explosive than it might be straight line and strength explosive, but still it's something. It's something, because I am disgusted. I don't like what I see in the mirror when I look at the Tennessee Titans offense. If my face was the Tennessee Titans offensive scheme, I'd be upset. I'd be very upset, because I would be getting no girls. There would be nobody knocking down my door for action with Taylor, because I'd have Tennessee Titans offensive scheme face. And that's a little extreme, because Ryan Tannehill is a little limited. In the same way that I'm talking about franchise guy for Trevor, because he's making decisions and he's able to make downfield throws, that's not Ryan Tannehill's deal. He's not a fast decision maker. That's why you have to hide him behind play action. And that's a problem overall when you're trying to run offense and you're apparently not very creative. I haven't been impressed. I was not. I felt like I knew everything that was coming from the off. And yeah, that's not a good way to get things done. Granted, the offensive line is kind of in shambles too. You haven't managed to replenish that in any meaningful way, and you're dependent on Taylor Lewan and Ben Jones, who are old at this point, to have an elite offensive line or to have some elite offensive linemen out there, and you're struggling. And luckily, the Jaguars just haven't been consistent enough to threaten you in the record up until this point. But you got another game, buddy. You better have more than two persons score in the freaking 70s on PFF. That is pathetic. That is pathetic. And you don't have Treylon Burks, but that shouldn't be everything here. I get why we've gotten to this point with John Robinson when I look at it when I saw this and when I look at it overall, it's just not good, man. They haven't been putting offensive playmakers around Ryan Tannehill. And even if they did, would he be able to throw them into a situation where they're a plus offense? I just don't think so. I think they've got a lot of work to do. And hopefully that work comes in developing Malik Willis, because I believe that he's the thing that ultimately is going to offer them more upside, but he's insanely raw as a passer. So you've got a ton of work to do. And honestly, Malik is so far behind as a passer that I have some concerns whether he can ever get there or not, because that is a huge chasm to jump over to get yourself to a plus level as an NFL passer if you're Malik Willis. The great thing is he has the physical tools. He has the arm. He's got the running. But I say Trevor was far behind, and Trevor was raw as a rookie. This guy is really raw. This guy is extreme vegan raw, and you didn't have to pay an exorbitant price for him, thank God. And he's going to be a solid backup at a cheap price at the very least. But man, you got a lot of work to do here, Titans fans. I know you feel it too. I know this loss has to hurt, so I don't mean to be so mad, but I'm mad because I have expectations for this team. I love Vrabel. I like this defense. Derrick Henry's a stud. He deserves more for his last couple years, and hopefully they get somebody in there that can deliver for him. Well, that's what I've got for this game. If you've gotten to this point and haven't done so, download the podcast. Let me know you're here and listening. I'm actually already have the video captured for the Trevor Lawrence video, so hopefully I've got that out around the same time this comes out, so you can take a look at the throws that I saw that made me so excited. That's the point of the videos from the coaching film angle, by the way, is that you're seeing what I'm seeing to make these judgments for yourself. And then I'm going to tell you what I thought on top of that. So look forward to that. A bunch of more shorts coming out as well. So that's exciting. More games too. I think I've got 2 or 3 more games in me, at least one. I mean, this is game number 3. So we're at least going to get one more. Hopefully we get to 2 or 3. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your day.